What's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we are taking a look at the Minnesota Wild, who have had a wild offseason. Maybe not in terms of actual moves yet, but they're expected to make some pretty seismic changes to the roster. GM Bill Guerin has been kind of hinting at that, so we'll take a look at that today. So the first report is from Elliot Friedman on this is a rental that they picked up at the deadline. Nicolas Deslauriers. The Philadelphia Flyers may be interested in forward Nicolas Deslauriers. It sounds like Deslauriers' numbers in Minnesota are numbered. This is a guy, yes, they brought him in as a rental, and it makes sense. Obviously, Tort's going to Philadelphia. He wants to get the team tougher. And Nicolas Deslauriers, I would say, is an upgrade over a Jerry Mayhew. So that's what we're looking at there. We've also got an update on Flower. So this is from Darren Drager. The Wild would love Marc-Andre Fleury back, but haven't begun extension talks yet. So it does sound like there is some mutual interest there from Fleury. We've heard from Penguins insiders that they don't want Fleury, which, a lot of Penguins fans had much vitriol to that. But that seems to be the status there. So if he doesn't go to Pittsburgh, and he's not going back to Vegas, Kelly McCrimmon and Bill Foley kind of made sure that wasn't happening, where does he end up? And the Minnesota Wild do seem like a good fit there. He played well with Cam Talbot there at the end of the season. Why not try and just run it back? And not to mention, he has a sick helmet that he got, and the gold pads. It just works. Let's keep it another year. So I do think Fleury returning to Minnesota is a possibility here. Again, it's going to come down to cap space and what moves they make in order to facilitate keeping Fleury. That's going to be the issue here. Can they clear out enough cap space? And that means guys like Fiala and Dumba probably leaving. And that's what I'm going to get to next, because those are the two hot ticket names on the board for the Minnesota Wild. According to Frank Saravelli, I think it's a 95% likelihood Kevin Fiala is getting traded. Might be even higher. Minnesota is interested in the player and the production, but they can't afford him, and I'll get to that in a second. They'd like to take that and parlay that into pieces that fit under their cap. The problem here is, and this was the risk that Minnesota's GM Bill Guerin was willing to take last year. So here's the context. This is the exact same thing that happened last summer with Kevin Fiala. So they acquired him from the Nashville Predators from Mikael Granlund a couple years back. Yes, do I know this useless information? Yes, I do. Yes, don't ask why. Kevin Fiala came in. He's been great for them, right? He's gotten better. He's a goal scorer, and he put up really good numbers last season. And Bill Guerin said, all right, well, prove it to us that you want to, play here. Give us another one-year ticket, and let's see where you stand. And the problem is, by doing that, that's 2 years of really good production from Kevin Fiala now that he's priced himself out. Last year, there was a chance Minnesota could have gotten that contract done. Now, here's the other thing. Bill Guerin put himself in a big hole because if you look at their salary structure, what is the biggest hindrance? That move he made last summer when he bought out Ryan Suter and Zach Parise. This year, they were fine for the salary cap. It wasn't that big of a deal. The problem is now moving forward in years 2 to 5 or 6 on those buyouts, it's going to be a hefty penalty for the Minnesota Wild. So that's why they really can't re-sign Kevin Fiala. I mean, like I said, it's not impossible, but it just doesn't seem likely. And again, considering the cap structure moving forward, they kind of screwed the pooch with this one. So that's what we're looking at with Kevin Fiala. I've made a couple videos about where I think he's going to get traded. There's going to be plenty of teams in the mix, especially on the East Coast. I'm looking at teams like the New Jersey Devils, the Ottawa Senators, even to some extent the New York Islanders. I think the Islanders will be interested. I even look at the Bruins, as much as people say they're going to, they're They're rebuilding. I don't think that's the case anymore. Patrice Bergeron is sticking around. They look to keep Pasternak. Maybe they look to add a Kevin Fiala, right? They're looking for some more scoring behind Hall. So maybe that's the move they go with, right? So I think that's going to be something. Definitely keep an eye on Kevin Fiala because like we're hearing, a lot of the reports are he is going to get traded. So now we have some updates from Kevin Allen on Matt Dumba. So expect to hear defenseman Matt Dumba's name on the market. Now this is not too different from what we heard last year at the draft. Apparently Bill Guerin was kind of looking at the market, what was going on for Matt Dumba, and there were teams interested. Again, kind of with Kevin Fiala, I do see a situation where they go in a package somewhere like Ottawa or New Jersey. For some reason, Matt Dumba to the New Jersey Devils, it just seems like a perfect fit. And I can't put my finger on exactly why that is, but I think Dumba would be a great addition there. He definitely adds depth to that blue line. He's a veteran presence, and he would be bringing that kind of edge that they kind of had from PK Subban, who I think the Devils are still trying to keep. But again, if that falls through, there could be something there. Matt Dumba is 27 years old with a modified no-trade clause, so that may have something at the end of the day in terms of the say of where he ends up, as well as a $6 million cap hit for this season. Like I said, a one-year deal, so anything after the first game of the season, he is considered a rental at that point. So we'll see what happens there. There is value to be had for some of these guys on the Wild. Again, you're looking to free up cap space because of those buyouts. And again, maybe not deciding to re-sign Kevin Fiala for a 5 or 6 year deal last year, where the number might have been a little bit more manageable and possible for the Wild to actually facilitate keeping him. Like I said, I mean, you look at the buyout here. I mean, the next 3 years are going to be brutal on the Minnesota Wild cap. $6.371 million for just Ryan Suter. So that's $12.7 million between the two of them for this season. $14.7 million between next season and 3 years from now. 3 seasons from now, yes, that's what we're talking about here. And then the final 3 years is $1.6 million. It's ridiculous. So Bill Guerin took a gamble, deciding to buy them out. You knew those contracts were going to be tough to get out from under. And this is why guys don't usually get bought out, because this is the ramifications. They're paying these two players, oh, Jesus, for over $14 million per season to not play there. And Zach Parise is going to be playing with the New York Islanders on an entry-level contract. That's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. So, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think of the Minnesota Wild here with Kevin Fiala and Matt Dumba? Do you think they get traded as a package? Do you want to get a draft pick? Do you want prospects? What are you looking for in return for these players? Guys, thank you so much for watching, and let's go Wild.